let's catch up with the latest in the advisory. Money for Life, How to Build Financial Security by Helen Baker. That's a guide designed to help people establish a solid financial foundation. Who doesn't want that? The book has a focus on wealth creation. To talk more about those tips and the book itself, Helen Baker joining us from Brisbane Private Wealth. Helen, welcome to AusBiz. Thanks for joining us. All right, well, Money for Life, everyone wants that, don't they? But it's the question of how you actually set that up. So what's the sort of cornerstone that you've placed there?
Yeah, it's the combination of how to get property and set yourself up for the future. We see obviously about 40,000 people in Australia living out of cars. So what we want to try and do is get on the front foot and make sure that people get their own property, which has become more and more difficult. So what are the smarts around doing that? But when you do buy, getting those 5 foundations underneath to prop it up so that if you lose your job or you have a health issue, the whole house doesn't come crumbling down. So it's about putting all those pieces together.
All right. So what are the key pieces then, particularly if you're starting at zero, if you like?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing now is people are buying with siblings or buying with friends. We're seeing the bank of mum and dad. We're seeing the multi-generational living. So there are a lot of things that are different to the old, I just go and buy my house, get car, have kids, whatever. Those things have changed a lot and continue to change. But with those become issues around, what happens if the relationship breaks down, or if it's the bank of mum and dad, am I gifting a lot of money? Am I loaning that money? Whose name am I buying these things in? And most importantly, if I do give, being the bank of mum and dad, do I actually have enough for myself for the long term? So it's getting a lot more factors and wisdom before you buy that property so you don't make a mistake.
It is so difficult though, isn't it, Helen? Particularly, affordability. It's still a major issue in Australia and potentially could be about to get even worse because, look, we've had certainly from the government looking to assist people get into the property market, but there are speculation that could actually push prices higher. And then, of course, we've got the prospect of further rate cuts at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's the problem at the moment is like everybody wants to try and make a difference here. And in some ways, I think a lot of the things we're trying to do, we left the run too late. A lot of these things should have been done a long time ago. So it is actually boosting the cost of housing and it does make it worse. So I think what we've got to do is start to look at, okay, how does it work for me? What's my best options of doing that? One that came out this week was a 10-year interest-free loan all the way through into retirement. But I think the issue is in retirement, we're supposed to live off about 30,000 of age pension and we need $55,000 a year currently to spend. So there's already a gap. There's not enough room to pay rent or to be paying mortgages at that point in time. So we've really got to start early and make sure these things stack up along the way. As I say, avoiding mistakes, having wisdom before you go out there and get it is important.
So, sorry, just to clarify, the 10-year interest-free loan, what's the catch then? Is that, what are you paying at the end of that?
Yeah, I think if you look at it, like say it's $1 million that you borrow, 7%, that's $70,000 year after year after year of interest and you're never paying anything off that home. So down the track, I guess their vision is that it's increased in value and then you look to pay out the loan. But I just can't see how you can do that. It's going to be such a big mortgage that you still got to repay back. And what were you doing about your super and other investments during this time? And more importantly, the expectation that you could carry it through as a retiree. If it's an investment property, it's a different story. But as a principal place of residence, again, they're trying to help. I think the concept could be good, but in theory, I think it's got a lot of problems for it. And a lot of people are going to get caught out thinking, oh, I can afford that, but they really can't. For the long term, they can't.
So, Helen, are there some compelling deals out there in terms of loans?
I think everyone's trying to look at how they shave it off. To your point before, if interest rates come down, we might see some action there. Fixed rates are starting to sound a bit lower and there's options coming out that are around the 4.9 that people are talking now. So that's quite a big chunk off what people are paying currently. But the problem is the base amount in which you're paying that loan on is significant to start with, particularly against what people are earning and the other cost of living, or what I would call cost of greed that's actually out there. That's actually what's harming us the most.
So is it your premise then that the property is the best option in terms of building wealth ultimately here in Australia?
I think it's about having property to secure your financial future and give you options to either downsize in the future or to even sell it down the track and release funds. But you need to be looking at super and other investments as well, making sure you've got the whole package working together. The luxury we have in Australia compared to a lot of other countries is we actually have superannuation, which is a forced way of saving and investing. But is it going to be enough for down the track, particularly if we're still carrying mortgages up to the age that we plan to retire?
All right. So, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it, though, when you're, particularly if you're just entering the workforce, just receiving an income, you want to consider super, you want a place to live, you want to be able to invest. Yes, you've got to stretch your money somehow, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a bit of a magic wand, isn't it? I would say, look, be kind to yourself as well. There are different seasons where you do different things. Okay, so if you're just starting to buy your property now, it's likely that a lot of your money is going to be focused in there, and it's likely that you can't do the other things down the track. But you work towards doing that. The same as when you're having children, you probably put nothing away other than paying the mortgage. But then once your kids are grown up, then it's like really ploughing through and starting to look at how you deal with super and those other builds, assuming that you've been paying that mortgage off and not just interest only for a very long time, or else you're going to have a significant mortgage to pay off.